What's up, you guys? Happy Sunday and welcome back to Brunch with DESB. I'm your host, Des, also known as DESB, and the B today stands for birthday. Now, I know I already had my birthday, so you guys are like, okay, Des, the ship has sailed. We get it. You celebrated. We get it. You're 28. Grow up. I get it. However, just let me sulk in it for one more moment. This birthday was honestly probably the best I've had, and excuse me while I need to open up this Alani real quick. Don't explode. Ooh, nothing like a crisp Alani sip. Dude, kiwi guava, if you guys did not get a hold of kiwi guava, I'm sad for you. This is probably my second favorite flavor. I was going to say favorite, but cherry slush is definitely still that girl for me. Back and better, 28, feeling great. It's officially been almost 1 week since I turned 28, and honestly, it's been a pretty great week. I found myself just kind of stepping into this new year with solid energy, solid excitement, and a solid strength program because I'm in the beginning of 6 weeks to shreds, which is my 6-week challenge. I'm so excited. Our community is buzzing. Everyone's so pumped. I'm so pumped. It's just been a really good environment so far. If you guys have not yet watched Brunch with DESB on YouTube, please go do it because I'm looking like extremely cute today. And this new makeup look that I have going on is just like chef's kiss. My mascara looks good, and I'm doing this new kind of not hack. It's not really a hack, but I've been underpainting. So if you guys are new to makeup and like don't know what you're doing, I will teach you. Underpainting is the art of doing all of your contouring, your blush, all of that shit before you do your foundation. So what I've been doing is using my contour stick. I usually still use my Dibs Duo stick. I'll put on my contour, I'll put on my blush, blend it out, and then do my foundation. But I've kind of been only doing my foundation in like my T-zone so that you can still see the underpainting. I do some like translucent setting powder. Like, honestly, girl, she's looking good. If you can sit here and look at me and be like, you look like shit, I'll take it if you want to say that to my face. Honestly, if you want to tell me I look like shit, say it with your chest and I'll accept it. And you must have a real account with a real name and a real photo. Those are my requirements. Thank you so much. Birthday was amazing. Again, like we went to Chicago for the day. We went to a place called Putt Shack. I kept calling it Butt Shack because it made it way more funny. We did mini golfing, and guys, you would not believe the way that Wyatt just finessed his crutches. Like, it was the craziest shit to see him go in and out of putt-putting with these crutches. Like, he was literally parkouring everywhere. It was cracking me up. If you guys want to see our trip, check out my latest personal YouTube video. I did a full birthday vlog. We did a couples massage. And listen, let me tell you this very straight. If you guys have never gotten massaged by a Russian woman, you have never had a real massage. And that is me totally giving praise to those of Russian descent because I met the most kind Russian woman who ended up being my massage therapist. And girl, the way that she massaged me, and that sounds crazy, but she was so real for that. She put on this like essential oil, and honestly, now that I'm talking about it, I need to go buy it. It was an oil she said she got off Amazon. It was eucalyptus and lemon. Oh my gosh, she put it on like a hot towel, put it around my neck while she was massaging my back and my traps and stuff. I almost left Wyatt. No, I'm just kidding. But it was amazing. Couples massage, Putt Shack. We got sushi. We went and saw a new movie, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. And ultimately, I had probably the best birthday I've had in years. Ever since I turned 25, which was the year I found out I was pregnant and we literally went into COVID, I can't say I've really had like a wow birthday. You know, like it's just kind of been like, yeah, like another birthday where like I can't do something or like something came up. But having the kids watched, being gone for a day, it like made me come back and like love my kids, which sounds terrible, but I felt really refreshed is what I'm saying. So that is what was new. And I will say today I got my period. Yay. Where's my cycle sisters? Ew, just kidding. I just don't like that verbiage. I'm going to be very honest, but I got my period today. It's my third one, 3 in a row. And I've officially had more periods postpartum than I did with Maddox and have not gotten pregnant. But this past week, my Sunday reset was plan B. You know what I mean? Because I have so much anxiety about that. Listen, Wyatt could use a condom. Wyatt could honestly not even touch me. We could truly not even have sex. And I am so scared that I'm going to get pregnant every month. So if you are someone who has recently gone through like a same experience of me, where you're kind of like, I want more kids, maybe, but definitely not right now. You've had a pregnancy scare, whatever it may be. Like, you know, the vibe where you're just like living in anxiety. I feel like I'm 19 again, trying not to get pregnant. I'm like, I am 28 years old. Why do I have this like teenage fear? But until Wyatt and I are like really set in stone about our decision of children, I don't want to take the measure of like a vasectomy when it could be a decision we regret, you know? So that's just kind of where I'm at. But anyways, Sunday reset, plan B, a Monster Energy because I was at CVS, in a bag of chips for the way home. Like that was so much energy, like post-birthday energy. So last week also, you guys, I told you guys about my fake ring that I got. So I bought a fake wedding band to go with it. So now I have a complete set. Look at this. Look, dude, tell me it's not cute. Like, Amazon, you did not have to do this. I love it. The funniest part about my birthday celebration that I needed to share, because I forgot to share it in my YouTube. When we went to Putt Shack, I got this like chicken sandwich for lunch. And it said at the end that it came with like an aioli and an apple sauce. And I was like, holy shit, this sandwich is about to be so fire. Like, I love aioli, and like it had a pork belly on it. And I was like, wow, that with like an apple sauce on it, like sounds really great. No, bro, they showed up with my food and it literally was fucking applesauce as a side. This is an adult meal, like an adult like entree. They had applesauce as a side. Now, my assumption in what I did was like I did dip the sandwich in the applesauce, but the way I read it was that it was going to come with an apple sauce. Am I the weird one for that? Like, would you have heard that and thought, yeah, duh, it's applesauce? Like, I gotta know. I was so embarrassing. And lastly, Wyatt did beat me at putt-putt, which is so fucked up, but he got this one hole-in-one, like that was a straightaway, and I didn't understand how this certain hole worked. And anyways, so he beat me by 5, which was just so stupid. So stupid. You're so stupid, Karen. I hope you guys had a fantastic Easter last week. If you haven't watched last week's episode, Rejection is Redirection, please go listen to it. I loved recording it. I love the message. I love even like listening back to it myself. I am my biggest fan, however. But if you haven't watched it because of Easter, please go do that. It was a really great message, and honestly, probably blew a lot of Easter Sunday sermons out of the water. So if you're asking me, that sermon, my sermon, should have more streams than Elevation Church or Joel Osteen or whatever other pastors there are out there. Pastor DESB has your back last Sunday. Speaking of Sunday and like Easter and stuff, dude, I felt like shit that day because we came back from like birthday celebration. We're settling in, right? It's Easter. We wake up. We're kind of in like relaxation mode. No, I get on Instagram and everyone looks cute. Everyone has makeup on. Everyone is like having traditions and like making like cute photos and like taking cute family photos. And I like look at Wyatt and I'm like, dude, we look like shit. Like, I don't even think we took one family photo, and I think it was outside during an Easter egg hunt that we set up for Maddox just in the front yard. Literally, I almost felt like a disgrace. I was like, am I even celebrating today? Like, what is going on? So kind of piggybacking off that, I said, am I even celebrating today? I've had this like weird energy around my religious and spiritual journey, and I've shared that couple episodes ago, but really it was like a couple months ago. I shared my dinosaurs on Noah's Ark. That's what the episode's called. And I talked about my struggle right now with like religion and like growing up very religious, but like, what am I right now? Like, am I an astrology girl? Like, am I a crystal girl? I don't know what I am. I still believe in a higher power. I still like believe in God. Like, I just don't know how to explain it. I wouldn't say I'm lost. I'm in a very much of a discovery and relearning mode. And I don't think that you can go into any religious sector closed off. So like right now, if you were to try to come preach to me, I'm not open to being preached to. You know what I mean? Like I'm not ready to learn. I'm just I need time to evaluate it myself, and I think that's the one thing I hate about religion is that it's so pressed on you to like have to know it all like right now and like believe in it right now. When I think there's more attention to whatever religion or spirituality you choose when you want to learn about it. You know, it's kind of just like majoring in something in college. When there's passion behind it, you take it more seriously. So that's just kind of like where I'm at with religion right now. And so it was really tough on last Sunday on Easter, to honestly say anything, because it was probably the first year ever. Like, I'm so serious. I didn't say, you know, he is risen, like, happy Easter, like, thank you for dying for our sins. Like, it was the first year, like, seriously, that I didn't bring religion into anything. Like, even my family, you know, messaged back, he is risen, like, whatever. And all I said was like, happy Easter. Like, I didn't even feel comfortable saying that, because not that I don't believe it. I don't know what I believe right now. That's really where I'm at right now. I'm exploring, and I'm not at all like Satanist, or I'm blanking on the word. I don't not believe in a power. Why am I blanking on that? What is the word? Anyways, I'm not atheist. There's the word. I'm not like atheist. I'm not like Satanist or anything like that. I just don't know. So anyways, if you can relate with me, maybe this Easter was like difficult for you too. But I just found it kind of difficult for me. Sooner or later, hopefully I'll have like a laptop set up so it can be like legit, and I'll have a monitor and it'll like look good. But for now, take messy action, guys. I hope this whole journey of me on YouTube, me doing like literally anything in life, can be an encouragement to you to just fucking try. Like, whatever it is for you, try. It's not going to be pretty, but guess what? In a year from now, when we come back and like we look at this episode and this backdrop and, you know, whatever, you're gonna be like, oh my God, Des, like, look where you started. And that's what it's about. So moving into the next topic is Brunch with DESB trip. If you guys have not signed up for my Costa Rica Brunch with DESB trip, please make sure you go do so. They do offer payment plans. If the trip for some reason is canceled, you will be fully refunded, everything above and beyond. There's early bird special of $2,200. Regular price will be $23. So this is a one-time price. This includes all of our activities, all of the stays, all of the food, all of the things. It is all on the website. So click the link below so you can have all of that information. I'm very excited to be spending some intimate time with you guys. Honestly, I hope the trip doesn't sell out, because I think the less people that are there, the more special it's going to be. Like, I'm girls, like, I'm trying to like huddle around a fire and like talk all night. You know what I mean? Like, this is a trip for the girls. This is a trip for the Brunch with DESB gang. You want to work out? Cool. But this isn't about fitness. This is truly about just like womanhood. Like, let's just have fun together. Like, all the girls, like, we're just slumbering and having a big blast. I'm very excited. So make sure you go sign up for that, or at least check out the details and feel comfortable with that. The only thing you are responsible for is your flight to and from, obviously, Costa Rica. There will be airport transportation. Everything else is totally included. So you can feel really comfortable there. Next up, NIL chat. Okay, so I've done nothing but watch sports the past 3 weeks, and like, trust me, I'm not like a watching sports on TV girly, but there's this thing now that wasn't available when I was in college called NIL. So this is like basically name, image, and likeness. People in college and even up to high school are getting offered money to do like brand endorsements and be sponsored by things. So off the top of my head, I'm just making an example. Barstool Sports has like athletes. So they pay you monthly to represent Barstool Sports as a college or high school athlete, like I said. With that being said, there was a player on Iowa, and I'm literally blanking on her name, from the March Madness tournament. Her name, I think, is Caitlin Clark. Am I saying that right? If so, I'm sorry. Or if not, I'm sorry. Caitlin Clark, she literally on like the NCAA women's final basketball game made like $1 million in college just off of that game alone, endorsements, etc., which I think is amazing. Like, I think that if schools are using athletes to promote their school, their sports teams, whatever, they should definitely be getting paid for their name, image, and likeness. 100%. They should not be able to promote that and use them virtually for them then to have like no money, right? So anyways, point being, I'm curious how the NIL will continue to shift college athletics. And if you nerd out like this, like me, cool. If not, you can like skip forward, but give me a second here. If you had the opportunity to go professional, and maybe you had a signing bonus that was like a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But if you know you can finish college, get your degree, and make millions of dollars still as like a top 1% athlete in the country, why would you not? So like, I feel like we're going to see a lot of people put off going to the draft to stay in college longer and finish out their degrees, along with like get paid during college. However, on the flip side, I'm curious if it really won't change anything, because to me, I would be more terrified to get injured in college and then like not be able to get an offer for the professional league. Do you know what I mean? So like if I was like, oh no, I'm not going to go to the NBA this year, I'll go next year. So then I play my college season and I make, a couple million, whatever, again, as the top tier athlete. And then I blow out my knee that last game. Like, do you think that team's going to want me again? You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a little bit more at stake for like the top athletes. But I'll be really curious, like what ends up happening. And it's something I really wish that we could have had in college, because I think it could have also pushed a lot of people more to even just be the superior athletes and be the best of the best, and maybe get like a little bit more fire under your ass to like even work harder. Does that make sense? I don't know, just something I've been like thinking about. So anyways, thank you guys for all the support the past week on like my YouTube videos, on my podcast, everything above and beyond. You guys rock. Even just showing up here and having like a couple hundred views on my videos means the world to me. Like I look at people like The Toast and, Call Her Daddy and all these other like really big notable podcasts. And I'm like, like I'm going to be there one day, and I don't know how, and I don't need to know how, but like that's what I'm working for. And I think that showing up and again, just taking messy action, doing what you can do with what you have. And that's exactly what I'm doing in the middle of Michigan. I am just really, really proud to have the support that I do, because it all really fucking matters. And at the end of the day, if there is one thing that I want to do and continue to keep doing, it's YouTube and podcasting. Like there is just nothing that brings me more honest fulfillment, and that is what I'm going to keep chasing. So respectfully, like fuck Instagram, fuck Lemonade. I do like that app though. It's cute. Make sure you follow me. And fuck TikTok, fuck all this shit. Like I want a podcast. I want a YouTube. That's what I want to be. And that's what I'm going to continue to strive for. So thank you guys so much. Last few things. Number one, I did get my new Rhode lip peptides in. You guys know I had to buy the passion fruit. It's so cute. It's yellow. I love this new yellow, like trending citron, whatever the fuck, daffodil yellow. I don't know. I love this aesthetic. Like this is like the summer color in my opinion. Also, like I feel like we're kind of over the whole Selena and Haley thing, which is so funny. I told you guys a couple weeks ago, like we're going to forget about it. No one gives a shit. It's so funny. We all get worked up about this bullshit. And then a week later, no one ever talks about it again. It's crazy. And you know what else I thought about today? When I was shopping for my birthday, there was Balenciaga everywhere, right? I'm like, what the fuck happened to us canceling Balenciaga, right? What the fuck happened to us canceling Kanye West, right? Or like, I'm just looking at all these brands who have, fucked up. And it's like, yeah, no one cares. Everyone is just so performative. Like we want to pretend like we care so badly. Like, oh, I'm never supporting them again. And then like a few weeks later, you're back out buying the same shit. Like it's crazy to me. Just sometimes just like don't say anything, right? Like I think that's just what we need to do better is like, don't get caught up in the bandwagon hate for something. Just shut the hell up. So then at that point, you're not ever saying anything good. You're not saying anything bad. You're just not saying anything at all. Now, on the flip side, if it is, it depends. Okay, there are certain topics that, you can speak about and you have passion about. But for the most part, if we're pissed about a fucking TikTok that Selena and Haley made that might have shaded Selena, but like what? Like you guys are so weird. I'm sorry. So yeah, I did go ahead and buy the fucking lip peptides because I love it. And I still like Haley and I buy a lot of Rhode, but then I also love Selena. I buy a lot of Rare Beauty. So politely F off. Last thing, new Petula drops today at 1 p.m. EST. Guys, we have bare bodysuits. We have a new iris color. We have Persian blue. This is the most beautiful blue I've ever seen in Petula bare fabric. We have new 3/4 quarter zips. We have new flowy crops. I don't want to like pull everything out, but like, guys, bare 2 fabric, do not miss. The only thing I will say, and just a little tip, is in my opinion, the bare the bare leggings, regular bare leggings, fit different than the bare pocket leggings, in my opinion. I feel like I could almost size up in the pocket leggings. They're different seams. They feel tighter. I don't know why. It's just they feel tighter. So just a little FYI, if you want to try to size up the pocket legging, I feel like you would be 100% happy you did. Just want to point that out. So that launches today at 1 p.m. EST. As always, code DESB for 5% off. And I know that's not a lot, but a little goes a long way, and I do get supported. I make a little bit of commission. Think it's just like the same as all my other companies. If you spend $20, I make $2. So say you buy like a pair of leggings and a shirt, you spend $70. I maybe make like, that'd be like $2, $4, $6, $8 to $10. So a little goes a long way, and it supports me, supports the channel, supports everything that I do, and I would appreciate it with my whole heart. Last thing, Paragon Fitwear. We have the new launch coming on April 20th, so later this week. Code DESB, 11% off. We have the new botanical collection. I reviewed it on last week's YouTube video, and I also put it in last week's, here. So this YouTube video and my personal YouTube video, I have full review and try on and stuff. So definitely one of my favorite launches of this year, just the color palette, the pieces. I love it. I wish it was Naked Fabric or Ultra Luxe or even Rec Stretch. It is Flex Sweat. Not my favorite fabric, but the pieces are amazing to where it makes the fabric good. The fabric's not bad. It's just not my favorite style. Very much activewear, sweat proof, and I like more of a buttery compression. I also don't sweat a ton, so I understand where some people would prefer more sweat wicking, right? I'm not naive to that. Okay, last two things, watches, and then we have a little bit of a skincare corner as always. First, watch. I've done nothing but watch sports. I'm so serious, guys. I've watched nothing else. I've barely been able to catch up on YouTube. I've just been so busy. We had a busy week. We traveled, whatever. So I've watched the Masters. Yeah, fucking golf. I've been watching golf. Literally so embarrassing, so boring. But that is what I've been watching. And honestly, I still don't know what's going on. I've been, quote, watching, still couldn't tell you what's going on. But I will say I did go see the Air movie. So this is with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, a few other notable actors, and it was about the come up of the shoe, about the come up of Air Jordan. It was so fucking cool. If you guys have not seen that, you have to go see it. I love sports movies though, Coach Carter, Southpaw, any type of also documentary. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. Anything of telling a story of an athlete. I like watching those origin stories, documentary style too, remakes, whatever. I love sports. So hearing the come up from also a business perspective of the business of Nike and seeing how back in the, I believe it was the early 80s, mid 80s, how Nike was it was Converse ran shit. Then it was Adidas. Then it was Nike. So Nike was third on the totem pole, not doing that hot. It was crazy. So just to see the business history, it was such a great movie. Highly recommend it. Go get some brownie points. Tell your husband or your boyfriend, whoever, be babe, I really want to go see Air. It's about the come up of Air Jordan. I feel he would be DTF. He would be so excited and be oh my God, babe, you're passionate about that. And you're yeah. And he's here's a ring. It's from Amazon. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that it's a really good movie that any couple could also go to and really enjoy. Great history. The revolution of the revolutionary change in sports players getting again notable money for using their name it started with Air Jordan, and it again just, oh my God, so fucking good. I would literally go see it again. I loved everything about it. So that was my watch of the week. That's literally it. Other than I watched some Family Guy just to go to bed. That was it. Skincare corner. Let's just have one more little chat to send us off not only into this episode, but into this new spring season, because babe, it's supposed to be 70 here this week in Michigan. And I'm preparing my skin to start taking on those higher UV rays and UV indexes. And as you should too. So let's just have a little sunscreen refresher. All right. You should be putting on sunscreen every single fucking day, and you should be putting it on underneath the moisturizer. Okay. It's not your step before moisturizer. Put it on top of moisturizer. make sure that you are using enough to also cover your face. If you're putting it on super thin, you're not going to get the coverage that you need. It should be decently thick, okay? It should also like dry pretty nice. If you want to use a facial sunscreen, like the Tula ones I use, whatever, totally fine. Don't feel like you have to then use that like on your body. Use your face sunscreen, use your nice face sunscreen, and then use whatever on your body. It doesn't matter as long as it's covered. However, I will argue you want a really nice face sunscreen because you do not want to clog up here. You don't want to cause acne. So investing in a really nice quality facial sunscreen is going to be pretty important. Sunscreen is important anyways. So as long as you're wearing it, I'm also going to like give you a big hug. But if you want a nice facial sunscreen, definitely worth investing in and using daily. If you ever need to reapply and you're like, but Des, I have makeup on now, whatever. Number one, use a beauty blender and just dot on some sunscreen. Or you can find like by Supergoop, I'll link it below. There's actually like a spray sunscreen. You can just kind of like put a little reset spray on because you still have that really nice foundation you already put on before. I don't necessarily recommend using like skin tints or whatever as like your primary sunscreen. I like to put on a little bit of a base underneath that's a little bit more like high power SPF instead of just relying on like a makeup bottle that says SPF 30. Because again, are you using enough? Probably not, because you just want to like have a nice light look on your face. You're probably not using enough for the protection. So that's just my little refresher. I personally love Mineral Magic by Tula. There is their new sun serum. Not my favorite mineral choice. If I'm going to go mineral based sunscreen, I'm going to use Tula's Mineral Magic or the Protecting Glow, which is chemical sunscreen. Just because there's chemicals in sunscreen does not mean it's going to disrupt your endocrine system. Endocrinologists have even spoke on this. Chemicals in sunscreen are needed for certain formulations. So don't let the internet scare you. If you have a chemical sunscreen that you really like, you can keep using it. It is okay. Now, don't go fucking ingesting it and be crazy with it, but you're going to be okay. So that's just my little refresher going into spring and summer. You need to be using sunscreen. If you aren't using it, literally the rest of your like skincare does not matter. I'm so serious with that. If you are using all the nice products and you're spending hundreds of dollars on skincare, in hydrofacials, in whatever, doesn't matter if you're not using SPF every day. I promise you. I know it's annoying, but I promise you that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into advice from DESB. I'm pulling it up right now. I'm excited to hear from you guys, give you some tips. Let's hop into a little advertisement from our partner, BetterHelp. So as you guys know, I have been with BetterHelp now for over 3 years. I've been using therapy for 3 years. That's crazy, right? However, it's helped me. I've gone through a lot of evolution in my therapy journey. I mentioned a few episodes ago or even last episode that I'm on like the lowest amount of therapy right now. I just check in a few times a month. It's been a really good journey for me. BetterHelp honestly has been a great pathway for me. I got connected with the counselor right away. I've also switched counselors. If it doesn't work and the relationship isn't there, don't force a vibe. Make sure you shop around if you need to. And that's what you can do with BetterHelp. So if you go to betterhelp.com/DESB, DESB as in boy, you can get 10% off your first month, or at checkout, put in DESB and you can get 10% off that first month as well. Biggest tip for you, don't be afraid of therapy. Don't be afraid of the stigma around it. BetterHelp counselors are there to help you go through whatever you're going through. And even if you're not going through anything, therapy is still helpful. You don't have to be at your lowest of lows to need therapy. So betterhelp.com/DESB or DESB at checkout. Okay, so we are heading into our advice with DESB column. I am so excited because I absolutely love giving advice. You know, I might not be like the best advice giver. I might not take the advice myself, but like, babe, I'm going to try to give you the best advice. That's what it comes down to. Okay, so here we are. I got it loaded. First one. I've been seeing this guy for about 10 months now. A month in, he told me he didn't want to hide anything from me and his ex-wife was pregnant with their second kid. I really wanted it to work, so I kept talking to him and seeing where it went. We officially started dating and they had their baby and all was well, kinda. Until we broke up and we were working on things. But he was on Tinder and inviting girls home from the bars during that time. I found out about it and ignored him for a week. Girl, what? You ignored him? I would just be like, bye. He said he wasn't taking it seriously and now he wants to start. I don't know how mad I can be when we technically weren't in a relationship, but it's unsettling. I was trying to work on things and he was working on ways to talk to other girls. Yeah, that's a red flag. I'm sorry. Anyways, he told his parents about me and told his ex-wife, who we're now going to see next week and have lunch with her and her kids and watch the kids, just us for a few days. Did I mention she lives states away? Super anxious about next week, super unsure if I'm making the right move or not. I feel like he's changed a decent amount, but his entire situation's complicated and I don't want to be involved in his kids' life if he isn't going to be any different. We're going to go back to why we broke up in the first place, aka he sucks at communicating and literally wouldn't speak things when I brought up my feelings. Sincerely, a girl with the dumb bitchitis. Okay, first off, love is blind. So like if you're someone who is like in this relationship and you're really liking the way it vibes, I get where it's like you want to just work things out. I think from the outsiders looking out, any outsider looking into situations in relationships, it's so easy for us to be like, oh girl, leave, you deserve better. But when you're in a relationship that you see working, it's very individual. So again, taking just the context I have alone, if he's taking you to now meet this, you know, the kids, the wife, the family, whatever, I think that's pretty serious. I would just keep your guard up and I would maybe communicate with him like, hey, I'm not comfortable being around the kids like a substantial amount until we are solidified, because I think that's unfair also to the kids. And I feel like you probably feel that same way too. On the flip side, just being girl to girl, I would also encourage you to know that there are other people out there too that would treat you amazing and have great communication with you, that would start a fresh life with you and maybe not have the extra, you know, things going on in their life that, again, you know, this seems a little bit deeper than just having kids. This is like a communication problem. I wouldn't call it a cheating problem, but, you know, I don't know, sex addiction? Is there something going on there? I don't know. So just keep your guard up, be very open in communication with him. You mentioned he sucks at communicating, but that doesn't mean that you have to shut down because of it. So maybe keep trying. But don't call yourself a dumb bitch. We've all been there. We can say we're wise, but also be a dumb bitch. That's all I'm saying. Hi, babe. I'm 23 and about to move in for the first time with my boyfriend of 5 years. Oh my gosh, it kind of sounds like me and Wyatt. Here's my predicament. The last 5 years of our relationship were kind of spent long distance. And by kind of, I mean we only lived 40 minutes away from each other, but we're both going to school and had full-time jobs. We really only see each other a few times a week. So not as long distance as some people, but you get the point. Anyways, I've recently realized that I've come to love my own routine and my alone time. I guess moving in so soon together, I'm scared I'm not going to have that like I used to. How did you manage moving in with someone like Wyatt and setting boundaries in a nice way and still making time for yourself? Like, don't get me wrong, he's literally my best friend and I'm thankful for that and that we're finally together. But how do I tell him that I want to silently lay in bed at night with my dog, hit a vape, and watch my DESB vlogs? Or another example, my morning routine sets my day. I love getting up, doing my skincare, coffee, gym. And he's more of a stay in bed and chill morning kind of guy. Any advice would help. Love you lots. Sincerely, an introverted bitch. Okay, that is so funny because I immediately started out by saying that sounds like me and Wyatt, and then you related it back to me and Wyatt. So the funny thing is oddly enough, you guys kind of fall into routine. I feel like the first couple weeks, you know, you're excited. You're like, do you want to go get lunch? Do you want to cuddle? Do you want to fuck? Like whatever. And then all of a sudden the excitement dies down and you guys do fall into that normal routine. Wyatt and I have like even our alone time now. You know, we've been living with each other since we were 23 and 24. And now we still have this opportunity to have our alone time at night. He'll play some video games and I'll do my skincare. I'll lay in bed. I'll edit my vlogs, whatever it may be. So I think it'll happen a little bit more naturally than you think. And this goes to anyone who is like about to move in with their partner for the first time, but especially being long distance. I will say I had a lot of anxiety of like us going to live together and be like, do I even like him anymore? That sounds terrible, right? But it's a very real thought process. You're like, what is this going to be like living with this person all the time versus having that, you know, excitement of distance makes the heart grow fonder. The biggest thing I would say is make sure you guys keep that alone time, get out of the house, don't be around each other, create that excitement of coming home to each other. It is very important to have those boundaries still because as much as you can love someone, we are meant to take care of ourselves. We are still meant to refill that personal cup. And I know for me, that's very important to me. That's something that I need in order to fulfill myself is I need my self-care time. I need my own me time. And so I think the more you can just be open in communication about that, and even when you guys first move in, you know, sit down, go to dinner and kind of talk about that. Just be like, you know, babe, I'm so excited to be moving in with each other. Like, what do you think about like what is our night routine going to look like? Like, do you maybe want to plan trying to like watch a show on Tuesdays, like, whatever. And it sounds stupid to like plan it, but it really just makes the flow go so much easier when you guys know what expectations you have from each other and there's no questions left unanswered. And I think if you open it up in that very nice way of like, I'm so excited to be living with each other, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about roles that we're both going to play. Are you going to do your own laundry? Am I going to do mine? Or are we going to do ours together? Like, it's weird to talk about that stuff, but it's so important, or else again, in a month, you're going to be so pissed when his laundry is piled all the way up and you're like, now I have to do his fucking laundry. It's like, make it clear from the beginning and make a chore chart, like whatever is easy for you guys. It doesn't have to come across as wrong. It's all about delivery. So that is my biggest tip. And I think that could help a lot. Have you had to deal with setting boundaries with family/in-laws when you started having kids? I'm due with my first, which will also be the first grandchild on both sides of the family, and I'm struggling from stress and anxiety over controlling family members. Any advice? Welcome. Sincerely, stressed mama to be. So I'm very grateful. I've never really had to deal with like a huge in-law type of vibe. Wyatt is an only child, so it definitely created a different experience than I thought, just because I'm used to having siblings and like other people that kind of like, take the heat off of you, right? But with Wyatt, like he is all that his parents ever think about. So it is a little bit of a different dynamic. I think though that when it comes to like mama to be, like if that baby is not even here yet, don't let it overly stress you out, because I think I was in the same situation. I remember kind of stressing out about like my in-laws and even like my parents, like how am I going to tell them I don't want them over or whatever, but it just really all flowed super naturally. And I think that setting those boundaries from the beginning of just like, okay, hey guys, when the baby's here, if you guys could just, text me a few days or like a day before you would maybe want to come over, please don't spring it on me. Like I'm going to be sleep deprived. I'm going to be emotional. Like if we could just have like really open communication and set those expectations before that baby is here, it's going to be very helpful. But, the anxiety, the stress, the first time mom of like, I don't want you holding my baby. I only want my mom, like meaning you, like as the daughter, you want your mom. It's very natural, and don't feel like bad for it. It does get better. It's just that immediate postpartum like anxiety and sense of wanting your own personal mother, very normal, very common. But just, make sure that you're allowing yourself to try when you're comfortable. And again, just keep that communication open, especially with your spouse, because at the end of the day, like if there's a talk that needs to happen, it is a team effort at that point. You don't need to be talking to the mother-in-law by yourself. Like it is you and your husband and that child, like that is your child. You can have a group conversation about if something were to need to change, right? But I think that you're going to be in a better position than you think. Try not to stress about it. And just, whatever comes with boundaries, again, just preset them as much as possible of, hey, we don't want visitors the first week. No one's coming over, whatever it may be. My situation was a little bit different because Maddox specifically was a preemie. And then we had COVID. So like no one came to visit until he was like 8 weeks old. And then whenever they came, they had to get COVID tested. So it was like I really only saw people like 4 times his first year of life. But when it came to Archie, when we come home from the hospital, my family was here, greeted us at home. Wyatt's mom came in that coming weekend. So like a few days later, it was a little bit more natural. But again, like my in-laws don't live by me. And then my parents live like 30 minutes from me. So it's not like a walk down the street where they show up uninvited. I recently found out from my best friend that my boyfriend has been asking about rings and is planning on proposing. I love him and I do see a future with him. However, he still lives with a roommate and his roommate's girlfriend. Come April, so this month, he wants me to move in as well to save money for our own place until his lease is up in October. I do not like his roommate or his girlfriend, and I do not like the idea of being engaged and going home to another grown adult couple. I'm 26, boyfriend's 24, the other couple are both 22. It just kind of gives me the ick. If he does propose, should I say yes and make it a long engagement, not get married until we have our own place, or should I say no and wait and risk hurting his confidence? I've tried to hint either way. I know how I'm not ready and snitching on my best friend and that he's not taking a hint. Sincerely, the girl who doesn't think roommates are romantic. Okay, that is definitely a situation I never really thought about, but I can 100% see where that is like definitely gives you the ick. So my thing is like, if you do believe in a future with him, take the engagement, take the long engagement. There is no like rule of if you get engaged, you have to get married in a year. So find your own place, elongate that engagement, but like have that promise made to each other, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, if it comes down to financials where you just think you would be in a better position after getting your own place, you would rather make that a financial, priority, stuff like that, then like have that hard conversation with them, go out to dinner and be like, hey babe, like, where are we at in our relationship? What do we see the next step? And if he starts talking about proposal, just be like, I love you and I see my future with you. I feel like getting your own place should be a priority, and I don't want you spending your money on a ring right now when like, I want us to be together. I just want us to be in the same home. I think, again, it all comes down to that delivery. And I think if you deliver it in the way of like, I want us to come first, it could be a really good way to kind of talk around that topic. So hopefully not only that can help you, but maybe someone else too who's in that same position. But I would not want to come home to roommates either. I don't care what our financial position is. I don't want to be engaged with living with roommates. I can totally see where like that is a personal preference and 100% okay. I'm in a healthy, loving, trusting relationship of 4.5 years. We're in our early 30s and I've always been iffy on children. More recently, I do not think I could fulfill a motherly role and I would prefer to adopt in the future if the time was right. I am another human when I'm tired and I know that will not fly for the first few years. Babies. Call it selfish, but I also don't want to bring a child into a family who's not 100% confident in the decision on both ends. Opposing to my decision, my boyfriend does want a child. He does not prefer the route of adoption. We know there is no compromise to this. We've sought out a couples therapist and they simply reiterated the same outcome. We either both agree or we part ways. Any advice on how to navigate this dreaded talk we are planning? Sincerely, baby or brokenhearted? That is a really tough decision because you really have to be super open in communication with each other, and to compromise on that, like for either party, is just a no-go. To say, like, to completely ditch the relationship is super hard, but kids in that decision in a relationship, I would just be fearful if you guys could not create a decision together that there would be a ton of resentment in that relationship moving forward. You know what I mean? So that would be my biggest worry, is like, not that you two couldn't continue to like live life together. It's just there could be like an overarching compromise resentment that could be difficult. Now, at the end of the day, I see it as like, if it's your body as a woman, it is your decision whether you want to bring in kids to the world or not. I will offer this from a standpoint of a mother myself. When you say you can't do it, now again, I'm not saying that like your reasoning is not suffice. I want to make this very clear. However, when you think, oh, my sleep is precious, whatever, I know this is important to me, for just an example. When you have a child and you love that child so deeply, you don't give a fuck about your sleep. So that is one thing that I will also just share as like a mother myself. That was a big fear of mine, is like, how am I going to operate off no sleep? But once I had my child, I was like, yeah, there's no, like, I don't care if I don't have to sleep. I love this baby so much. On the other hand, I would encourage maybe your boyfriend, your spouse, to open his eyes a little bit more to adoption and maybe at least offer you. So before you were to like end a relationship, could your boyfriend offer you a little bit more of like an entry point into looking into an adoption? Open his eyes a little bit. Wyatt and I have struggled with this back and forth, as I've been very open with him that I wouldn't mind adoption. I would love to adopt. And he's not really for it. However, he told me that when that time comes, if we really choose to not have kids of our own, that he would be open to exploring options if that's what it came down to. So I think that it's just important for him, as of right now, since adoption is on the table, can we explore it a little bit more before we call this quits, But a baby in a relationship, having a child in a relationship, that's a very huge decision that I feel like both parties specifically need to be very on board with. So sending love to you, that's a very serious conversation, a very serious topic, and not one to take lightly at all. But I will say, I think for you knowing right now that you're not ready for motherhood / you might not ever be, that's okay. And that's you taking parenting very seriously. So hats off to that. Oof. I'm truly struggling. My boyfriend and I just broke up. I'm 26 and he is 28. We were high school sweethearts. We have one child together and I'm currently pregnant. I was working until I found out I was pregnant, then quit because I was a dancer and dancing isn't for me, period, while being pregnant. Anywho, he moved out. So now I'm a single parent with no job to pay bills and all I want to do is cry and sleep. My 4-year-old keeps asking where his daddy is and why we aren't a family. Basically, I just need advice on how to pick myself up, heal, and be the mom and person I was created to be. I've applied for 8 jobs. Please wish us luck and prayers. Sincerely, a heartbroken mama. Oh, man, that's like bringing tears to my eyes because that is so tough when you picture yourself having this family and that family idea is broken. And now you have this child asking and it makes you feel like shit, but to put yourself in a position of being your best self. If your best self is not with the father of your children, you are going to be a better mom for them. You know what I mean? You cannot stay in a situation, no matter the situation itself. You cannot stay in it, either party, when you cannot be your best self, because your best self equals you being the best parent. Coming from a broken family myself, my parents split when I was 8. Obviously, I was a little bit more acknowledgeable of what was going on. But during that time, being able to just see both my parents and be understanding of like, hey guys, you're like, my mom would be like, hey guys, you're going to go see your dad this weekend. And then my dad would be like, hey guys, you're going back to your mom's, whatever. The more I feel like I understood where I was going, the more I understood like, yeah, this is just, yeah, I'm going to go see my dad. Oh, I'm going to go see my mom. My mom's taking me to practice. My dad's picking me up. So from a parent standpoint and being someone who was on the receiving end one day, at one point, I think the best thing you can do is just talk to your child, no matter how young they are, 4 years old, whatever it may be, and just be open, hey, like, daddy's going to get a different house and, whatever. And we're going to have special days with just dad and special days with just mom and whatever. I think the more you can just keep it very cordial in that way and also eliminate hatred for one another, you don't talk shit about him. He doesn't talk shit about you. Like, kids don't need to be involved in that. Make that very clear that you two need to be on board with that. You guys can dish out your own shit, whatever that looks like, but do not bring the kids in that. Now, in terms of like healing and just pushing forward, you are a badass mom. You're a fucking mother. You are mother. You will figure this out. Moms, we have that motherly instinct. We have that intuition. We will do anything for our babies, just like we would out in the fucking wild if we were hyenas or lions or zebras, whatever that fucking looks like. We're going to fight and defend until the death of us for our children. So even though things might not feel like they're working out for you right now, they're going to work out for you, and they're never working against you. They're working for you. Everything that happens to you for a reason. And the more that you can ingrain that in your head and allow that to serve as a purpose and a lesson, the easier and more fun life gets. Don't look at it as a rejection. Look at it as a fucking redirection. Mic drop on that. So I'm sending love to you. I know in this moment, you're like, how the fuck? That's literally the only thing I can say. How the fuck, But before you know it, in a couple weeks, in a couple months, next year, in the next couple years, you're going to look back at the season on your life and go, that's why the fuck. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sending love to you, sending hugs. You're an amazing mom. And again, for whatever the situation had been with your significant other, I'm proud of you for being that single parent right now and putting in that work. You are doing an amazing job. Okay, last few. I've been talking to this guy for almost a year now. We officially started dating a couple months ago, but recently broke up. I guess we're still hanging out, basically doing the boyfriend-girlfriend stuff without the title. He has 2 kids, which is cool. I know what I signed up for, but I can't communicate any feelings I have about the situation he's in without getting thrown in my face since I knew about it from the start. I also can't criticize anything that makes me feel any kind of way that's not positive without him freaking out and ending things. When things are good, they're so good. But that's when I'm the positive one and show no emotion besides that. When I'm having a bad day, it's almost a burden to talk to him because about it because of his life. Oh, got it. Okay. I guess I'm pretty much answering my own question, what I should do here, but it might help hearing it from the queen herself. Sincerely, a girl with a bad case of dumb bitchitis. Wait, is that the second time you guys have fucking signed off with that? That's funny. I've never had dumb bitchitis sign off, and then now 2 of you said dumb bitchitis. It's funny. So when it comes to that, honestly, I feel like at that point in time, you deserve better. You deserve better. And you know what? Let's go ahead and just play devil's advocate. He deserves better too, right? Maybe he needs a different type of person to be able to take on that burden and not show that emotion. And if there's some people out there that do that, there's some people out there that will go happily through life not showing any emotion. That's not you. So don't fit the mold of what maybe his expectations of someone is. And maybe his expectations are never going to be matched. And either way, you would never be good enough. So in my opinion, it's not worth it. I know that there can be emotional ties in relationships and with kids, and it's always easier to say, oh, just fucking leave. You're better. But trust yourself, trust your journey, and trust the life that we have to live out there. Like, guys, most of you are talking, you're 20, you're 30, whatever. We have so much time. Guys, my dad turned 50. He turned 50 a few weeks ago. And I remember looking at the age 50 and being like, wow, you're so old. And now I look at, that sounds terrible, but I look at my dad and I'm like, you're so young, but you're 50, but you're so young. We have so much time. Please never settle. Please never settle. Please, please, please. Okay, next one. And let's go 2 more depending on length. Let's see how long this one is. This one's kind of long. Let's go ahead. This will be our last one. If you guys like these episodes, comment below, let me know, email me, whatever it may be. I always love doing these. And to be honest, I think it's always fun to also hear what other people are going through as a listener. Like, I think it's fun to kind of hear and then hear like, oh yeah, what would I do? And I think those are kind of fun segments. So let me know what you think. Last one. Dear Desb, my husband and I have been together for 3 years now. We have a beautiful 9-month-old little girl and 2 dogs. I love my husband and we have a lot of fun together. However, there are times where I get this bad vibe or feeling like something's off. Almost as if there's something I don't know about. I don't have any evidence of this, but my parents are always pointing out how if I leave the house, he will call and text a lot asking where I'm at, what we're doing, etc. If he's out, he rarely texts me. Haven't confronted him, like what do I even confront him with when it's just like a feeling? I'm a stay-at-home mom. We have 1 working car and I'm always with the baby unless I'm at the gym. Is this a guilty conscience or am I just crazy? Sincerely, a wife trying not to stress. If I was in that same position, I would be in that same position. I would be asking those same questions and I would kind of be spiraling. And I think as someone taking on that caregiver role as a mother and as a stay-at-home mom, how do I say this the right way? I do not want this to come across bad. Actually, this shouldn't come across bad because it's terrible that our society views us like this. Society views stay-at-home mothers as like inadequate. Maybe not inadequate, but like we're not providing much, which is fucking bullshit. Stay-at-home moms should be on fucking salary for all I know. However, my point is when we're in this position of being a stay-at-home mom, I can see where we can start to spiral in our eyes of like, am I worthy? Am I doing enough? Am I providing? Is my husband turned on? Is he turned off? Am I blah, 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 blah. Do I not have any, do I not show any ambition where like he's bored of me? Whatever, we get in our heads. So part of me says maybe it could be in your head, taking on this new role as a mother. There's a lot going on. We're stressed. Our body's different. Our life's different. He could be texting you, where are you at? What are you doing? Whatever, because he's worried about like you and the baby. Dads have intrusive thoughts too. Dads can be scared that you guys aren't going to make it home too, so I can see where like maybe when you're home and he doesn't text or call you a lot, it's because he knows you're safe, right? So I would take it that way too. Now, on the other hand, you're saying you kind of have a bad vibe. From my experience, in my opinion, vibes don't lie. You know what I mean? Maybe there's just unspoken energy that you guys haven't had a conversation about something, or, is the sex life going okay? Like, is there something we need to explore? Is there unmet needs? Is there unmet communication? That could be something as simple as that. You're working with 1 car, do you have Find My iPhone on? Like, is that something we could turn on secretly? Like, I mean, I would just be curious, but also, where's that trust? So I would go with the conversation first. If you feel like it's still happening, turn My iPhone on. Send your location, share location without him fucking knowing. Figure it out. Figure out how to do that. Jailbreak his phone. I don't give a fuck. Figure it out and then go from there. But I feel like when it comes to having kids, having a tie to one another, you deserve to have those conversations and confront that, especially when that energy is off. But there's a little bit of a devil's advocate to kind of like look at it that way too. When you're home, you're safe. When you're out with the baby and his child and you're his wife, he's worried about you. Could we maybe see that? I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys will have to let me know. I always love it when some of you chime in. on other stories too. Like, hey, I've been here. Here's what I would have done or whatever. It's always fun. And, you know, again, all we have is the context of a fucking Google form. So I don't know your life. I don't know anything, but it's fun. It's fun. It's free therapy from DESB. Not really. Advice. Okay. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist. Do not sue me. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, let me know what you want to see next. I have some other guests coming up. We have some fun things coming up. I'm going to bring my sister back on the podcast. We'll have Wyatt on the podcast. And we'll be here every damn Sunday. So don't get shocked. 3 years in and we're not stopping. We're chewing to the finish line. Hope you guys have a great day. Comment below, like this video, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, leave a rating, leave a review, write a little, oh my gosh, Desiree helped me heal my relationship with my husband. 10 out of 10 stars. I love you guys. Have a great Sunday and we will see you next Sunday.